Hi guys, it's V. So, today let me try to straighten this. See if I can do it. Today, I'm not feeling so hot, but I'm feeling a lot better than I did. I've been kind of sick the past couple of days, my husband and I both, and I really wanted to make a video yesterday for Kelly and call it the second day of Christmas because I went back and I listened to the live chat, and it's really interesting when you're listening to it, not being a part of it. So it's funny that I did a video on comfort decks just a couple days ago because today I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but not really enough to do much. And I have all this stuff around me. And I realized that some of the decks I called comfort decks, they're not even the ones that are beside me right now. And it sounded like I was giving the oracles a bad rap. I was waxing poetic about the tarot, the structure of tarot, and that's very true. But I do use oracles, and I'm going to show a couple of my favorites. What I'm probably going to do is a few different videos, but this first video, which I don't even know if I'm going to post, it'll just depend on how it turns out, because it's mainly in fun, and it really will only make sense to the people who do the live chats with Kelly in the Truth and Story, and especially if you were on this past one. There were a lot of people popping in and out, but I really do try to make them. So the other night, it was Christmas night, I was sitting here and I was listening, watching the live chat over, and I made some notes. Now, I will admit that by the time I finished the notes, I was well into my second glass of wine. So, but there were a lot of interesting things you guys covered. So first, Christmas Vacation, Elf, and Christmas Story. Those are the three that I have to see every year, and usually in that order. And another thing is the Christmas season doesn't officially start for me until I hear Last Christmas playing somewhere. Not that I played it, but being out somewhere and hearing Last Christmas, and not just a copy, it had to be the George Michael version. And that was so sad yesterday that he passed. I mean, I'm a child of the 80s. I grew in my when I went to high school, my lockers had Wham stuff everywhere, and I loved Andrew Ridgeley, believe it or not. I was a big Andrew Ridgeley fan, but when George Michael went out on his own, his music was just amazing. His concert was one of the best concerts I've been to ever, and I think Cowboys and Angels is probably my favorite song, but there's too many to choose from, and I'm just the people that we lost in 2016, it's just unbelievable. So I'm gonna go on to the next one on here, and I feel the need for geomancy sticks. I don't know why, but I keep dreaming of them, and I have to look into them, and I want to check out what geomancy sticks are all about. And you're talking about a book. I wrote the name, you mentioned it again later, and I wrote it down in the guy's name, but you mentioned like in science fiction, and Ender's Game blew my mind, and then the one after it, and I read through most of his until I got to where, like, I cannot read another Orson Scott Card book right now, but man, I loved it. And I'm also one that I am always reading multiple books. Books have always comforted me, and until iPads came around, I always carried a book with me. I always had some big ass book with me. I couldn't leave it. And that was a major complaint from people. You've always got your nose stuck in a book. And I'm like, really? Out of all the things I do, that's the worst? And this is a little embarrassing, but I have these two friends, and I'd been doing their hair a long time ago. And that's how I met them, was doing their hair. And I introduced them to my best friend. And the four of us have been the Bachachos for like 2 decades now. But before we really started hanging out, they'd come in to get their hair cut, and one would sit in the chair next, and I'd be doing the other one, looking in the mirror, and we'd all be talking. And some movie had come out. They're like, oh, V, did you see this movie? And I was, yeah, I saw it last week. And they're talking about the movie, and then all of a sudden, Kimmy says, hey, Kim, the one that's in my chair, Kim, tell her about Weirdo Book Girl. I'm like, Weirdo Book Girl? Kim's like, oh yeah, it's so weird. We went to see the movie, and before the preview started, this chick walks in with this huge book, and she sits down and just starts reading the book. No one meets her, nothing. And then the preview starts, she puts the book down, and at the end of the movie, she just gets her book and walks away. I said, and you know, here I'm doing her hair. I'm like, and you call her Weirdo Book Girl? She goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay. Well, the book was the Memoirs of Cleopatra, and I was in a really good spot when it was time to go. I had no idea how eccentric I looked, or that, you know, a movie was an interactive thing. You had to bring someone else too. And they thought I was messing with them. They're like, that's, you didn't do it. I was like, I saw that movie on that night and brought that book. I'm Weirdo Book Girl. I'm Weirdo Book Girl. And when they realized I was telling the truth, I was about to get off, and they're like, can you want to come get a couple drinks with us, or buy a couple drinks? I'm like, sure, why not? And there it started. So like right now, because I'm sick and I don't feel well, there's like a couple books I'll be reading on my iPad, and I thought I'm never gonna be an iPad reader because I'm so tactile. I love books, and I have huge bookshelves full of books that I've collected all through my life. But I've got to say, ebook readers, you know, you can make the font bigger. A lot of times I'm trying to get everything straight. I'll go back, who said that, or when did that happen? And you can do that immediately and then go back to where you were. You can change highlights. You can carry all of the books with you want. So I have to admit, I do like using the iPad, and it keeps me from buying a lot of books I normally wouldn't, because if I hear a book, I download the sample, and if I don't go through the sample, I don't buy it. But that being said, there's always, and here I am, I don't feel well today. So there's a couple books I'm always reading, then there's a guidebook or two I'm going through, and then there's always a comfort book. This is mine right now. And it's all highlighted. I probably read it every other year. It's Anne Rice's The Vampire Chronicles, the first 3. I love it. It's so existential, but not just for the content. This was a leather-bound edition from Barnes & Noble, and I used to make purses out of the leather covers. And then I just made a new cover with masking tape, and I can pick this book up at any place and start reading. The pages are nice and smooth, it smells good, and the content's good. So I have, just like I said in my last video, where I don't think I'll ever feel a need to purge my decks. I need to find a way to store them better and keep them in order, but they're like my books. I always have to have them. So here, well, I've been feeling bad the past few days. It's been the Vampire Chronicles and the guidebooks I've had right by my side. Alice in Wonderland. I can't get tired of going through that. The 78 cards, that deck that I carry with me all the time. Look at that beautiful book. Invoiced. The Romani Tarot. Hidden Realm, which I had to buy another copy of the Hidden Realm, and the cardstock's better. It's a little more laminated, just slightly glossy. I wonder if any of you guys have noticed that. And if the Steampunk Tarot is printed a little bit better, I'd get another one of those too, because I love that deck, but I don't like the flatness of the cards or something. I don't know what it is. But, and the Urban Tarot. It's a very, very good guidebook. On a side note, a little bit of a fangirl, Robin Scott, the creator of the deck, left a note on one of my videos saying that she really liked the way I trimmed the deck, trimmed the sides, and that And she's thinking about maybe doing that for the second edition, which I was like, oh, that's so awesome. Because the Urban Tarot is, I didn't get on that whole, I didn't do a VR to underrated decks, but I could make one tonight with the ones I have sitting around me. But her Urban Tarot, I just trimmed the sides off because I like the information on the top and the bottom. But it is just such a beautiful deck. It's Thoth inspired. I like the way she did the quartz, everything. So I'm excited about a new version coming out with that. So of course I'm not reading any of these extensively, but when I don't feel good, that's the whole thing of a comfort thing. I'll just read a little bit of it and then go to something else. I'm even wearing comfort jewelry right now. My mom and my husband bought me all of these bonbons on here. And this is a ring my dad wore up until the time that I was like in high school or something. And that's the first piece of jewelry mom and dad gave me when I was 16. Someone stole it and I just found it a few years ago on eBay. But that's the reason I got that tattoo. And even, oh, this ring that my best friend and I went to the Renaissance Festival. We go every year. So one year I came home and I told my husband, I was like, you're not going to believe what we did. And he said, you got married. And I'm like, oh, you don't know me. He does. That's what we did. That's her ring. So my niece just gave me this for Christmas. And then this, remember when tri-gold bracelets were like the thing in the 80s? It's starting to become popular again, but this is so old. And this is actually from Israel, and it's my mom's. It's from my grandmother, and it's not officially given to me. I just asked to wear it, and I've had it ever since. So I'm actually even wearing comfort jewelry today, which is ridiculous. I know. I'm getting way off topic here. Okay. I put here, if anyone could say screw it in a loving manner, it would be you. I love out-of-print deck reviews. How can I know if it's worth chasing after? So some people don't, I've heard this before. People don't like if you show decks that are out of print. Well, just because it's out of print doesn't mean you can't get it. It may be a little harder to find, but seriously, what'd you put? Oh, that was later that you said something that cracked me up. But this is true. I like it when you show all of the decks, because what if I'm chasing after a deck and then I see it on the flip through and I'm like, I have some like it, or it's not, that great. People don't have to watch it. Just like if you don't like it, if someone does a full flip through and you don't want to see a full flip through, don't watch the full video. Watch as much as you need. Okay, seriously, I yawned the entire time. You were killing me. You had taken some Benadryl and I yawned. I'm almost yawning now thinking about it. I yawned constantly watching you. But I'm very proud that you soldiered through, man. It was great. And I ordered a crystal geometry set of crystals like Patrick has. I saw a set on Etsy. I don't know if it's the same set, but I thought it was cool. But I also wanted to show I have a fire and ice crystal. I think I got this one in Casadega, and it's really cool because it's super polished. You can see the crack that's in the inside, and then these two little like rainbow things. They were calling it something else, but it's a fire and ice crystal, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I have one of those too. Okay, and then an empty collar. Oh, you must have been talking about a Lenormand, and instead of the dog, it was an empty collar, and nope, couldn't do that. I love my my dogs are my babies. An empty collar makes me gonna cry. I'm just way too sensitive for that kind of stuff. Okay, now, and you guys are talking about the shadowscapes that I did, and here's the thing. I'll get it. It did take a long time. It did. I just put them in a different order this time. I don't even know if it makes any sense. The 0, but then after the 1s, I put the aces, and then I put the 10s. Because, you write that down, and that's a 1, so there's a 10. and so forth. So then the 10 of discs, and then I put 19, because that's a 10 and a 1, and then the 2. But I love this deck, and it was worth it to me. There are other decks I'd like to do this. Look at that. I just love it. There are other decks I'd like to do this to, but it takes so stinking long, you know, and I'm a good starter, but not a good finisher. And I know I wouldn't do this. But the truth is, you don't have to screenshot every one. The easiest way to do it is if you have an app. There's a Shadowscapes app. You can screenshot the app and do it from that. But I would never, ever, ever do that unless I had also bought the deck, because I just think that's cheating the artist out of money. And here's the thing, it's, if you do that, it costs a lot more to do it this way. When I alter a deck, it costs much more than the original deck did. But I can't find, now putting in this order. Okay, so death is 13, it'd be with the 4s, if I'm right. And there it is. You are absolutely right. That is one of the standout cards in the deck. I always look at the death card. That's my birth card, and the fact that it was a phoenix was awesome. But I also, the 6 of Swords lately, like for the past year and a half, I've had to see the 6 of Swords. So my thing is, yeah, you can take screenshots from one of those apps and print out a deck, but it's going to cost you more than just buying the app. The only reason I would do it is if there was something that I wanted to change. And I like photo decks. I like making photo decks because they hold up really well. This one, I made this one years and years ago, and the printer I had at the time printed well on the back of photo paper. So I did that, and this is one I only used for my best friend and I. It's all pictures, no words. There's pictures of us and different places, but I beat this up and shuffled it, and photo paper just really, really holds up well. And now this printer I have, it's a good printer, but it gets all smeary. So this deck I made, the meme deck that I'm actually making into a deck that I'm working on right now, I backed it with silver contact paper, and I was amazed. I mean, just, these are decks I only use for myself though. The meme deck, the only reason it came on is because a couple of my good friends also threw tarot parties for me, and they wanted to use this deck. But usually people, I'm the only one that sees it. When I mentioned in the video before about the Hello Kitty deck I made, and this is index paper that's laminated. And I made this deck. It was Vivian Mayer, who is arguably was the greatest street photographer of our time, but she died with rolls and rolls and rolls of undeveloped film. Most of these pictures, she only saw the moment that she was taking the picture. She rarely developed any of hers. Look at that for the 5 of Pentacles. She caught just all kinds of stuff. She had this amazing eye. So I collected all these Vivian Mayer prints, and I made a deck. There's my, is that the 9 of Pence? Yeah. But it's just for me. But it's just index paper that I laminated real thin. And I think that when you make a deck, it's just so clear. These are the decks I go to when I want answers. What was the other deck I had here? Oh, this is like I did with the Hello Kitty. I took the Hermetic Tarot and I put it through that insomnia filter in Light. And Light's an app for the iPad. It has all these different kind of things. So I made the Hermetic Tarot in just different colors and just big. I made a back for him. So that was it. So yeah, it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of projects I haven't, Renee, I told you that I'd show you when I got the Lover's Tarot. That is one of the very first videos on there, is how I was trimming the Lover's Tarot, and I was showing how to back it. And I chose that. Look how far I got. Those are backed. I've still got to back these. And I think the thing is, because I really like the majors, but the rest of it, it's pretty, but I just don't use the deck that much. So I at least need to finish the majors. So, yeah. Again, way off topic. Okay. Ordered that. Empty dog color, Shadowscapes. Oh, the Mythic Tarot, the first edition. See, some people were upset that they can't buy the Mythic Tarot. I have both. I liked seeing the side-by-side comparison. And again, if you want the Mythic Tarot, you can find it. Amazon, eBay, on Facebook. There's all kinds of swap groups and people selling things. I see decks all the time. The Mythic, the Regina Victoria. So if someone doesn't like it, like you said, they can click the X. They don't have to see it. Let's see. Yeah, just go ahead and push all the buttons you want. He said you push some buttons showing decks they can't have, and I think the new Mythic is very pretty. If I hadn't seen the old Mythic, the original one, I probably wouldn't have thought anything of it, but just when you put them side by side, I just really, and the Mythic Tarot is one that's really close to my heart, because that was, someone gave me that deck after, and all I had was the Mother Piece. I've been using the Mother Piece 10 years. So that got me down the rabbit hole of now to have so many. Okay, so, and without you, I would have never guessed how awesome the Winged Enchantment deck is. I bought, this came in a bundle on Facebook. Lisa Hunt, on her Facebook page, sometimes she just does these really nice bundles, and the first one to say, yeah, I'll have it. And so my book fits in the box, and it was very sweet. Dear Veronica, I hope the birds inspire you. With love and light, Lisa Hunt. Because of, this wasn't the main deck I was buying in the bundle, but it just happened to be in there. And then you started showing them, Kelly started showing them on the live chats, and it's like, wow. It's, the cards are pretty, but it's the affirmations and what it had to say. And I remember the first time I got the deck out after hearing you talk about it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to try that. I got the Kingfisher, and I read about it and almost made me cry. And yeah, Crow, but we'll get to that. But I really appreciate you showing, yeah, we tease about it's all Kelly's fault, but because of you, I have some really cool decks that I wouldn't have had before. So indie decks, you guys are talking about indie decks, and if you buy more indie decks than mass market, I got a ton of decks in today, and I gotta say, I buy almost all indie decks. I buy mass market decks if they're nice, but I think indie deck creators have raised the bar for what we expect. You're gonna pay more, but they're packaged well, the card stock's great, and it just gave us more choices. And you can go all over Kickstarter, Etsy. Etsy alone will get you in trouble. But I don't mind if it's mass market. I got, one of the ones I got in was the Bonefire, but I bought the indie deck first, and it just blew my mind. So I like either, as long as it's done well. But I think that the mass market decks are getting better because they have to, or no one would be buying them, because we have all these indie decks we could buy, which I love. And I love supporting indie deck artists. And that's not just because I'm making a deck, because I don't know if anyone's even gonna, you know, if it's gonna, it's a very kind of, my deck's different to say the least. So not everyone's going to love it, and I'm just going to have to, that's one of the things I've had to come to grips with as I was reworking the cards is I can't make everyone happy. I just have to do it as close to the original that I had with my vision and hope with supplement cards, you know, that someone can, if they like the idea of the deck, they can get the deck personalized. But the initial deck, it has to be how I see the cards, or at least an aspect of it. And I think I think of decks like Ravens, and I think of the indie decks that I love, and I think you're doing better if you try to appease everyone. You're not going to appease anyone. It's going to be blah. And I think that was a problem with a lot of mass market ones, but I think indie decks are lightning the way. Oh man, I wish I had butter schnapps and cocoa right now. I love butter schnapps. That sounds delicious. So then you pulled the Crow from the Winged Enchantment. And before you could talk about the Crow card, you guys got massively trolled. So Remco unbanned him, but then took care of it. And I wrote, remember when you blocked Sweet, Sweet Maha? Yeah. And you zapped Zach too. I didn't know about that. But getting back to the Crow, the one line I wrote down, the line that stopped me in my tracks: your future catching up with you. Damn. That's very, very true for me right now. And everything you read, it was just beautiful. And you pulled the Hawk, and that was nice, but it was the Crow that really got me. And then I can't help it. Hanaconda, I love you. You write some of the funniest things. I love you. But whenever I hear Kelly say Hanaconda, my Hanaconda ain't got none unless you got buns, hun. You can do side bends and sit-ups, but please don't lose that butt. Baby got back. Every single time Kelly says your name, that goes through my head. I'm a little OCD. I'm not all there, but still, Hanaconda, that's pretty hilarious, but every single time. Okay, The Name of the Wind. That was the name of the book. And it smells good too, and I'm a sniffer. And yes, I do believe we are all connected as part of this community. When we make an effort to draw closer, when we do things to even those chats with no real subject or anything like that, but just connecting together, I think it does connect us. And I'm sure that the cards you pulled meant something to everybody. But here, from the Dreams of Gaia, there's the Six of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the Six of Earth, which in itself is amazing. The only six was I am all cups. I'm all cups and water was the Six in Cups, which is beautiful. But the Six of Swords is always a card that I have to look at. Always. And it's a card I felt very acutely for a long time. And these three cards, it really got to me, because what hit me, this is the card to let go of. And that passage from one place to another place. I'm at that other place now. I need to let go of the Six of Cups. I'm not traveling anymore. I liked when you talked about it with the Eight of Cups and how different that is. The Eight of Cups, either walking away or releasing something that no longer, in order to get to something better. And it's usually an affair of the heart. The Six of Swords is completely different. And it was just a big call for me to let that go. I'm at the place that I've been traveling to. And even, with how you move forward, and how'd you say it? I wrote them all down, but it was compromise to wake at work, third party, mind, action, fire, grounded, earth. And this grounded earth is so funny that Raven said that she's a little bit of the devil. This reminded me of the devil card. And the devil lately has been coming up for clients as not a bad thing, actually, as a side, not when it's taken over, but as an invitation to open up a little bit. And I saw that devil card right there, and what you said all made sense to me. It's different. These 3 cards are a different thing for all of us, I know, but for me it was very, very specific. And you know what? Sometimes it's time to really let go. I'm not in that 6 of Swords. I'm there. And sometimes it's just telling me that there's times when, even when you know you were right, you know, we're here because of this or that, and I was right, I called it, I said it. Okay, that's true. Now shut up and move on. And ground yourself and move on. So that meant a whole lot to me. So then people started getting mathy with 18 and the moon, but I liked what Kelly said. It's harmony of movement. And then I put Nero playing the fiddle where Rome falls, and he was a dick. Okay, as I told you, I was drinking a little bit of wine, and I don't remember the context of that. And then I put that you said your brain literally hurts. You're literally going to curl up in some place. Okay, here's one thing that I love about you. When you say literally, you mean literally. Because a thing that just frosted me this past year was they changed the meaning of the word literally to also include figuratively. And that pisses me off. So when you Google literally, it will say, you know, literally or figuratively. What, just because people can't use it right, you're going to change it? I swear, this year, with everything going on, I'm wondering when they're going to start watering the crops with Gatorade. And if you haven't watched Idiocracy, you should, because we're heading to it. And I know I have to recognize that Donald Trump is going to be our president, but I will not use literally when I'm talking figuratively. It's always been just a pet peeve of mine, and I don't think we should let go of that. Even my good friend, one of the bachachos I was talking about, Kimmy, she is so funny. You cannot be in a bad mood around her. I've tried. I can't do it. And she's always laughing and all that, but man, she kills me with the literally. You know, I literally had a heart attack. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You didn't. You know, I mean, this bitch is immortal because she's had a heart attack, her head's popped off, she's died at least 40 times that she's told me, you know, and I'm sorry. If you tell me that you literally died, I better be speaking to your freaking ghost, okay? Use literally correctly. And Kelly, you do, and I like that. So, man, I'm going off on all kinds of crazy tangents. There's no way I'm putting this up. I tell you what, I'll put it up, but I'm only going to leave it up for like an hour. So the people that watch it, and then that's it. So, so that, and then you talked about salmon, and that it keeps cooking. But to me with salmon's one of my favorites, but it's really light. It's all about the seasoning with me. A little bit goes a long way, because it's light meat. And Jasmine wanted to hang out on your couch in a onesie. I wrote it down. I have a couple onesies. I love them. But good for you, Jasmine. Christmas Eve is a big deal with my family. To me, at our house, Christmas Eve is actually the more formal thing. We have spaghetti dinner. That's when I snuck to say hi to you guys. But then Christmas is way more casual. And I'm glad that I was at my parents' on Christmas Eve, because by Christmas Day I was feeling sick. And that's just a big deal. Christmas Eve is a big deal at our house. And someone please tell me why I wrote a sugar plum fairy got snowed. I was on the second glass of wine at this point, and I don't know why. Meet me in St. Louis with a sad snowman scene. I was almost going to watch it till you told me there's a sad snowman scene, and we need a second Christmas Day. I meant to make this video yesterday and say, yes, let's do a second Christmas Day. And I'm sick all through December also. I live in Florida, and it just can't decide whether it's going to be cold or warm. It's in the 80s here, but we had a cold snap, and then it got warm again, and that's when I get sick. I am always sick, and I am just always over it by the end of the year. This year, 2016 can kiss my butt, and there were some great things, and I have a lot of things to be thankful for. I mean, I'll be honest, I came out of a crippling depression that I had been entrapped in for years. And it was amazing. It's amazing to feel like myself again. But that doesn't mean I don't have ups and downs like everyone else. And it doesn't mean that, yeah, the depression lifted, but there's still the act of crawling out of that hole I dug myself in. So 2016 was a mixed bag, but I'm like, I'm on to 2017. And you guys talked about Boxing Day and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I have no idea. Boxing Day, I think it sounds like a great idea. I didn't know that they gave gifts and all that. And then you compare it to our Black Friday, it is pretty sad. But when I think of Boxing Day, I always think of that tsunami. Man, and I remember when it happened, but it was just a few months ago. I was watching I love watching YouTube videos, and they just had it split up into different sections, but it was all about that tsunami, but it was almost entirely from cameras and video cameras. It was almost entirely from the cameras people had on them. And I was about halfway through, and my husband came home for lunch, and I was just losing. I lost my crap. I was just crying. My face was swollen. He's like, "Baby, just don't watch them." I'm like, "But I have to." So it was just whenever Boxing Day is always like synonymous with that with me, and that's sad. Rogue One. Okay. All right. You started yawning again, and I have to agree that I love being an adult who can nap all the time too. I'm the world's worst adult. I never really grew up, and I have no regrets about that. Whatever. Okay, namaste. I put namaste. Good Lord, woman. Then we talk about Boxing Day some more. I do need to get on Instagram. There are times that I can't make a video. I'm just not up to making a video, but I could do things on Instagram. I'm 48. I should get on Instagram. Krampus and Conjuring 2. No way. I don't watch scary movies, but when you... Okay, someone didn't mention it to later, but as soon as you told about Isabel, I snorted a little bit of wine because I'm thinking, now poor dog, I can just see her just at the window staring in. Like, I can't go in there. That shit's going on. And to brave the flying pea pad. She was so scared she braved the flying pea pad. And she's a pretty smart dog. I've got one that's traumatized by the food bowl because I have the two little ones are on the bed all the time, and if the food bowl's empty, Ellie, the Yorkie poo, will start biting on it but start throwing it all around. And Dante, some of you have seen Dante, he's not that bright. He's afraid of the food bowl now. He's like, I've seen what that thing can do. That thing's scary. It jumps all over the place. And every time he eats, he has to sneak up to the food bowl and grab a piece and run away. That's what his sister's done to him. So when you first even mentioned it, I cracked up thinking of her like, she would rather be out there with the flying pea pad than in there watching a scary movie. Carrie Fisher had a heart attack. Very sadly today we found out she passed. So that's sad. Christmas is when you wake up. I agree with that too. It doesn't matter. Actually, Christmas Eve, we fell asleep. We stayed up later. It was actually Christmas morning, but technically it was. But we went to bed and didn't open presents until the next morning because that's Christmas morning. And I'm a big insomniac, so my sleep cycle, I have the sleep cycle of a vampire. And it was funny, my husband, he asked if I wanted a gift. I was like, no, I'll wait. He kept saying, what do you want? What do you want? I was like, I don't want anything. I get everything I want. You told me that it was a good time for me to catch up on the decks. I said, he's He said, no, but you need something else. I said, you haven't checked out our PayPal account, obviously. So he did. He got me my wireless Beats. And I love these. I love listening to music in a car because you can feel it. But these things, they're awesome. I had a pair a couple years ago and they were pink, but it was the wired kind, and I messed them up and I didn't get them fixed. And I really wanted a pair of the wireless, but it was something that I'm not going to spend that much money on headphones. And I can't believe it that I'm saying this, but it was something that I wouldn't buy myself. I have heard people use that term all my life. My best girlfriends, they'll be talking about it. Well, it's not something you'd buy yourself. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know what that is, because if there's something I want and I have the money, why the hell would I buy it for myself? I was not going to spend that much money on headphones, but once he did, I'm like, hey. But here's the problem, because he scares me when he walks into the room if I'm like concentrating on something and I'm facing him, and he'll walk in and I go, and I do it all the time. He's like, baby, I just walked in. He has scared, the first time that he tapped on me and I had the music real loud, I screamed. I literally screamed. So that's gonna happen a lot, but not like that. At this point, you're getting pretty punchy, and I'm worried that you're gonna fall asleep without giving me my hug. But you didn't. You pulled through. Said you were overly sensitive to medication. God, I wish I was. I wouldn't be quite the insomniac if I wasn't. And then here's another point. You were shuffling and shuffling and shuffling. Okay, so some people don't like it when you shuffle so much. And you said that you were actually getting comments from people watching older videos. And that's why I loved it when you said you should drink Benadryl more often because you're funny. You yawn, but you're funny. You're like, hey, you're free to click the X. I love that you shuffle. I've always said the more you shuffle, the better the card's going to be. And part of the comfort to me of decks, being a tactile person, I feel my decks, I smell my decks, that's part of the comfort, is shuffling through them. And if this is a large deck, I can't do it, but when you're holding a deck and you keep shuffling, I love it. So to them. So you pulled my hug, and it was blessed tranquility, a sea of tranquility. And after like the harsh, to me, it was harsh but loving but needed, those 3 6s, the sea of tranquility, that really meant something to me. And I've got a couple of oracles because of you. Now I'm lost. Where'd I put it? I have so much stuff sitting up here. Oh, here it is. I said, no more affirmation oracles. Well, Gothica, bless her heart, sent me these. And you're right, Kelly, there's something about them. They are just so peaceful and tranquil. And every time you pulled one, I loved it. That's why every week I was like, Namaste deck. Use the Namaste deck. So I love it that you give us a hug with them. And Gothica, I have a gift going out to you. It's sitting with my family and friends' Christmas stuff that hopefully you guys will get by New Year's. So I haven't forgotten you. You're in the pile with everyone else. So this, what is this? A Blessed Season. That's the first one I picked. I love this guy's artwork. A friend of mine just recently got me this, and it's a lot of his artwork. I have a few of his oracles, and I'm kind of I was over it, because they're all the same and they're really pretty. But this one snuck up on me, this Namaste Oracle, and I absolutely do love it. When I made that video on comfort decks and I kind of poo-pooed oracles and it was all about tarot, I was starting to feel bad already. And so I get into bed and I grab a deck and I'm shuffling through it. And what deck was it? The Namaste deck. Go figure. So I love that. And thank you for remembering my hug. I'm pulling that. It was beautiful. Okay, it's the mindset of the new year, and it does thankfully cause a shift. Here's to 2017 and a sea of tranquility. And that's when you're talking about the ups and downs, and I get it. And that is, even though I know it shouldn't, it's what we call the beginning of the new year or whatever, there is a mentality and there's a mindset to it. And this one, I am ready to let go of 2016. And I was wondering if there was going to be a New Year's chat. I don't go out on New Year's, and my husband and his son, they're going to a bowl game, and I'm not telling anybody because I just hate going out on New Year's. But if there's going to be a New Year's chat, I would love to join that. That'll be fun. So to end this play-by-play on the live chat, I looked up, remember I would tell you that when people come on and you'd say, hey, Gathaka, hey, Hanaconda, hey, God, not unless you got buns on. Hey, Veronica, it reminded me of Romper Room. Romper Room was a show that I watched when I was very little. I don't remember much about it, except she'd look in her magic mirror and she never said my name. So, Kelly, since you didn't have a TV, I don't know how many of you guys will remember this, but this is the lady from Romper Room. Romper Room.
See, we can't find you in the magic mirror, but we have to have Mom or Dad helping us do that. They have to let us know you're watching. So I'm going to look for you right now.
Okay, this is what she did every week.
Romper, bomper, stomper, boo. Tell me, do. Magic mirror, tell me today. Did my friends have fun at play?
I mean, you don't do that. That's kind of weird. But
I see Derek and Kimby. There's Daisy, Daniel, Jana, and Sharon. I see Peter and Tricia, Shauna, Carrie, Eddie, and Larry. There's Jennifer and David, Melissa, Carlos, Myron, and Samson. There's Austin and Sean, Edith, Larry, Jason, and you, and I'll see you all again in Romper Room School.
yeah, in Romper Room School. Now I can't turn it off. Okay, so some of you that will look familiar with, but as people keep coming on and you're saying hi to them, that's what I meant by Romper Room. Perfect way to end this hot mess of a video. And I do have, I'm going to make a real video on the decks that are comforting me right now at the end of the year, and the oracles that I've actually been using since I didn't give them a fair shake. But I'm not going to keep this up for long because this is ridiculous. But I thought you'd get a kick out of it, Kelly. Mwah. I appreciate you doing the live chat so often. It takes a lot more than people realize, I think, but it's just a way for us to come together, and we really do appreciate and love you. And I love hearing from everybody when we do it. So sorry I missed it. Hopefully I'll catch you guys this weekend. Hope you guys had a great Christmas and a very uneventful, peaceful week up to the New Year's. All right, see ya.